Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Kiro Weekly Show. I'm your host, Brian Beach, and this week I'm joined by Seán Winters from Miro. Seán, maybe a quick introduction. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, it's great to be here, and hello, everyone. So I'm Seán Winters. I'm a platform architect lead at Miro. So if you haven't used Miro before, I guess back in COVID, we were kind of known as the online whiteboard, where everybody came together. Everybody panicked and said we couldn't work in the office before, so they came together remotely on Miro. But since then, we've gone all in on AI, and
that was my first introduction. My first introduction to Miro was during COVID. I was working on a team doing app modernization, and then suddenly we were all home and trying to figure out how to interact with everybody, doing a lot of design work, and so. We were looking for how do we do event storming workshops and those kinds of things, and landed on Miro, and Miro boards is the way to collaborate on. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh no, yeah, it's great. It's a great part of the introduction, really. But that's fundamentally that's what Miro is all about: alignment. So everybody is working on their own, but to actually execute something, you have to align somewhere. So Miro is the place where you can collaborate and align. And we went through hypergrowth during COVID, and we're still I guess market leader today.
Awesome. Yeah. It was always a great experience when we were using it, and you could see. I love it. I'm sure we're going to bring it up at some point, but kind of just watching what everyone was doing and seeing in very much in real time as everyone was moving around on the same, virtual. I'll say whiteboard, but obviously it's
exactly not. Yeah. We're going to show you some stuff. The best way to understand it is to see it in action. So we'll be doing some great live demos today. Yeah.
And sure. Now I'm based in North Carolina. I think you're somewhere in Europe, right?
I'm in Amsterdam right now, being baked alive a little bit because we don't have AC over here, so we're having a heat wave in Europe.
Yeah.
Amsterdam, it's very hot. I think the rest of Europe is getting hotter, but appreciating the office air conditioning in our Amsterdam HQ right now.
Yeah. We did a family vacation 2 years ago in Europe, in Italy and Greece, and it was some of the hottest weather I think I've ever experienced. It was crazy. We went to Athens and I saw nothing. It was so hot that I wanted to go outside.
Just taking cover, trying to find shade and survive.
Yeah. That was just before the Olympics, the Paris Olympics, 2 years ago.
Cool.
So it was brutal, but always fun. I love Europe.
We just need more AC, I think. Then would be good.
Excellent. So if anyone online, I'd love to hear where people are coming from. If you're watching online, where are you in the world? I'm always surprised by how diverse the audience is. Excellent. So Seán, I want to dive in and talk a lot about kind of Miro and Kiro. Other than the names sounding so much alike, I think there's a lot of great synergy in how we can use
the coincidence.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can't have two better names to put into the title. They just sound perfect together. So let's before we do that, I want to just spend a little bit of time and talk about everything that's happened on the Kiro side in the last couple of weeks. We skipped a week, so it's been 2 weeks. I know we call this the weekly show. We did not have a show last week. It was the New York Summit, and all of us were participating there and distracted with that. So there was also a few launches that came as part of the New York Summit. So maybe I'll spend 5 or 10 minutes and just kind of walk through everything that happened and take everyone through that before we jump in, and then we can talk a little bit more about the synergy between the two. So let me get my screen up here. And let's talk through a few of the things that have happened in the last 2 weeks, maybe 3. I lost track a little bit of exactly when each of these things happened, but these are all very recent. So first, we have launched a new pricing plan. In the past, we had the $20, $40, and $200 plan with this big gap between the $40 and $200 plans. So we've now added the Kiro Pro Max plan in between the two, giving you another option for those who were kind of outgrowing maybe the $40 a month Pro Plus plan, but not yet ready for the Power plan. So just added one more in the middle as part of this. Then the other one, and I love this one. I took this screenshot out of I'm not going to live demo this stuff. I want to make sure we focus in on Miro, but I did take just a couple of screenshots here to make this work. This is obviously from the IDE, but this works as well in the CLI. And there's a new capability where you can essentially queue messages or send in real-time steering into the model. So as you're watching it work, if you want to send in a message and say, no, that's actually not what I mean, right? Can we change that? It used to be you had to stop that flow and interrupt what it was currently working on. Now you can just sort of ship messages in real time and tell it what you want it to do. So I love this. And Sean, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you're playing with like the Opus models, you can see in real time what they're thinking about. In some of this has been around for maybe a month or two. Have you seen that feature where you're kind of watching it behind the scenes? What is it thinking about before it responds?
I have, yeah, and you can see if it's going the right direction or the wrong direction. Usually it's the right direction, but yeah, I can see.
So first, I love this feature. Second, I hate this feature because it has just destroyed my productivity. The idea of kind of long-running actions is completely lost at this point. And I just watch it and wonder what it's thinking the whole time. And then I'm now with the ability to send in these steering messages and kind of change its behavior a little bit. I find myself just like synchronously watching its thought process and then sending in little hints in the direction. I was like, oh, no, I want you to actually think about it this way. You're diving too deep on this.
So a question on this, does it like, so you queue it up and then when it's finished thinking and before it starts executing, then it kind of goes in, is it?
Yeah, kind of the next opportunity that it has, right? You know, it's thinking and it might make the next two updates, but then before it continues, right? You think about it, it's running in this big agentic loop where it's doing tooling calls, making changes, going back and thinking a little bit more. Kind of the next cycle through, it'll pick up your message and say, oh, okay. Let me add that into what I'm currently working on. So I have to wait for it to finish it. Some of these operations, right, are taking longer and longer periods of time. I was presenting with one of the product managers at New York Summit from the CLI, and he was telling us during that session that the kind of benchmark for good right now is you want to get the agent to run for about 2 hours. You want to set up, you want to spend some time, either a great prompt or more likely you're going to do some work in spec-driven development, and then launch something and have it run for about 2 hours. And if you're able to get it to go for 2 hours, you're sort of, you're in the top 10%.
Okay.
And I've gone the other way now, right? I'm like lost in watching the thought process and giving it little corrections the whole time. That's exactly what I don't want to be doing, but I do love that I can.
Yeah. It depends on how much trust you have in the AI, I guess. Some people, they're pure vibes, and just you do it your way. But then there's the other people who know maybe a little bit too much, about good architecture, and you want to see the little decisions it's making.
Or there's even like you'll watch it thinking, right, and it's saying like, oh, the user really cares about this, and I'm like, no, I don't actually. I don't. You're overreading one sentence in my prompt there, and probably if I just left it alone, it would come to the right conclusion in the end. But now that you can watch it, and I tend to.
You can leave your little notes. I have some notes, and it'll get to them. Once it gets them.
And I find myself, of course, wishing that I had that same ability with humans. If only I knew what people were thinking. Could
if you had a little thinking dialogue above people's heads,
would be great.
We'd all get on so much better. Yeah,
absolutely. So other things, kind of CLI focused here. We just launched the early release of the CLI v3, and so you have to opt into this one. You already have it, but you have to opt in. And I'll talk about what's in v3 a little bit just to give you a sense. First, and maybe most importantly, is there is now a unified agent across all of the experience. And that is across now the IDE, the CLI, web, and of course mobile, which just launched. We haven't talked about that yet. We will in a second. And gives you kind of that common experience. There were these little, edge cases and idiosyncrasies that were slightly different depending on which experience that you were in. And now this fixes that and brings commonality across all of those experiences. A couple of those, just to list them off, in V3 now we have spec-driven development in the CLI. In the past that wasn't there, right? It was always in the IDE. We added it to web, and now it is available in the CLI as well, so we have that commonality. Of course, also this means that as new features are added, they're going to launch across the platforms at the same time, and we'll have some consistency there. And then there are a couple of kind of breaking changes that I want to call out, make sure that everyone's aware of. And this is the reason that you opt in. So you got to add a --v3 to opt into this. The notable ones that I'll call out are custom agent definitions. They were different between the IDE and the CLI. In fact, one was YAML-based, one was JSON-based. We have support for, there's some commonality now across them, and you can use JSON on both sides and vice versa. But there are some subtle differences, so take a look at the docs, make sure you're aware of that. And also the agent hooks definitions have changed ever so slightly as a result of this. So be aware of those as well.
I love that the terminal art has come back for all the CLIs.
Yes.
When I started, it was all, you're in MS-DOS and things like that.
Yeah.
I love that it's coming back.
Yeah. People have done some amazing stuff with ASCII art. It's quite.
Yeah.
I mean, this is even very simple compared to some of the things I've seen. It's really wild what people are able to do, putting together ASCII characters. I'm sure there's probably libraries for that where you can give it an image and it turns it into something. But I'm always amazed by it.
Definitely.
Cool. Next on this list of things that just happened is the CLI has added this /goal directive, so I can give it a long-running goal and tell it, hey, I want you to take this to completion, give it an exit criteria, and have it work for a long period of time. And this is a terrible prompt. Don't follow what I'm doing. But the important part of this is I can specify the max number of iterations that I want it to take. And so this will cause it to restart and continue as it goes. And for me, one of the things that I work on, kind of my nerdy little side hobby, is genealogy and researching my family tree. And I keep it all in Markdown in a library. And I often will ask Kiro to, hey, go look at hundreds of JPEGs or hundreds of pages of PDF documentation and interpret it for me when I'm looking at birth records and census records and stuff. And very quickly you'll overwhelm it. And so now I can set these kind of long-running goals and say, yeah, you might burn through the whole context window, or there's actually a separate image limit that's in there. If you do, great, just restart, right? Continue, just go into another iteration, start over, and keep crushing until you get through the whole goal. So, love it.
I can imagine that's a game changer for visualizations as well of all of the different branches that you've discovered.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, it's wild. And, it's like, it's so, the models are so aware. They know so much more than I do about like what was going on in that part of the world at this point in history. It's cool. It's so cool what they can do. Clearly people are loving it too. I see some comments here. People are loving Kiro, and I love it. Cool. Sorry, this is taking a little longer than I expected it to. We'll get to Miro. We'll get there, I promise. So there's so much that happens, right? This is 2 weeks. This is 2 weeks, and we've added all of this stuff. So this is a shot from the web experience. The important part here is we've added support for GitLab. And when we first launched, the web was only for GitHub. We now added GitLab in. You can see that kind of here, down at the bottom. And the other piece of this is you can also run across multiple repositories, and now you can execute across multiple repositories from different providers. So imagine that you have stuff stored in 2 different places. In this example, what I was doing was, imagine we're managing the internal, right, the API in GitLab. That's what we do internally. Externally, though, I have maybe the client to that lives out in GitHub, and I want Kiro to be able to see all of that and act across all of it at once. So we're open up a bunch of new capabilities there.
Nice, very nice.
Two more. We're almost there. So sorry.
A lot did happen. Yeah.
It is crazy, right? I mean, it's wild. It's so hard to keep up with all of this. It's nuts. I can't imagine you trying to keep up with everything that's happening across all these providers. So Still in the web, we added automations, essentially scheduled tasks here. So imagine you want to periodically review and make sure your documentation is up to date, or once a week you run a job to make sure that code coverage stays high and fill any gaps. You can start to schedule those and have those run as a cron job. And then the last of these I mentioned is we did just launch the mobile experience. And essentially, this is taking a lot of that same capability that is in the web experience and bringing it right into mobile. It's iOS at the moment, and this is in private preview. It's not quite available in the App Store yet, but we're getting close. And I can still do things like connect to multiple repositories across multiple providers. I can do spec-driven development in here, and I can just ask on my phone for Kiro to go off and do some work. But most importantly is I can follow this from the web experience into my phone and back. It's one flow across the two. In all honesty, I don't imagine I am ever going to go build a spec and execute a spec on my phone. That feels really tedious to me. But the idea that I could start that in the web experience and then monitor it on my phone while I'm not at my desk, and if it needs permission to do something or has follow-up questions, that it could ask that of me, I think is super powerful. I love that part of it.
I think that'd be cool. You're just in a meeting, someone is asking for a feature, you can get it started, and then maybe by the time you reach your desk, it's in motion.
Cool. So I think a few people have come in a little late. I see some questions. What is Miro? I think everybody, hopefully, on this channel knows what Kiro is, but maybe just again a quick overview of what is Miro, and then we'll jump in a little more deeply.
Yeah, I mean, is it worth just jumping into maybe a live demo right away, and I could show some?
Actually, let's set this up a little bit before we do. I want to kind of connect the dots from Kiro into Miro, and I'm just gonna share a quick slide here, and I use this often to one of the things that I often hear when I'm talking to customers and developers about Kiro is this misconception that spec-driven development, and if anyone doesn't know, right, Kiro offers both vibe coding as a model and spec-driven development. The difference being we want to iterate and build up a good requirements and design document before we start working. That, first of all, will better document what we're doing, right? We'll build up the context, but more importantly, it will give us a really good foundation to do that long 2-hour run that we're trying to get to as we want to get more autonomous. But the misconception that I hear all the time is, hey, this feels like waterfall to me. And there seems to be this misconception that like the spec is the plan for your entire application. And so I often use this slide, and this is just something one of my peers created, to kind of discuss where does spec-driven development fit into the equation. And what I want to get across is, right, the spec is not this waterfall representation of your entire application. And there is kind of this inner and outer loop to the SDLC that we've talked about. The outer loop, you're working as a team, you're planning, you're figuring out what's in this sprint, you're putting together a high-level design. And then a developer takes one of those tasks to go work on, usually for, you're going to take an individual task that's 3 to 5 days and go work on it. It's going to be a lot faster with Kiro. But they then take that and develop a spec for that feature. So I think of specs as something that we execute at the feature level. And then that's something that naturally I work on individually in my IDE. It's weird for a team activity to happen in the IDE. And so where I'm going with all of this, where this really resonated when we started talking about Miro is excellent for that team activity where we all want to collaborate and go through the planning for the outer loop of the equation. And then you bring it in, one of those tasks, into Kiro and go and execute that spec for it. Right. And of course, during a larger sprint, you're going to end up with multiple of these, that inner loop repeats for each of the features that are in your process. And you end up with, something that kind of looks like this. In the outer loop, we plan for the next couple of weeks. And then in the inner loop, individual developers are pulling things out and building their spec. And that spec then becomes the kind of contract between me as the developer and Kiro as the agent. But what I always want to stress is the specification isn't necessarily the contract between like the product manager and the entire development team. That's probably too coarse. And it's important that we think about the granularity.
I think so,
So,
yeah.
right, I hope with that really crude setup, I think Miro is all about kind of the team activities, the high level planning, and then Kiro is all about the developer activity and the lower level design and execution.
Exactly, yeah. So in Miro, we call it discover, define, deliver. So Miro, you do your discovery, you do your definition, and then you deliver in another tool. Because the important thing, it's always, I think, even before AI, coding is the easy part. It's how to do it. It's the easy, making sure that you're building the hard part. So that's what,
yeah.
Miro, you get your alignments, make sure you get your data. Everybody's making the decision together, and making sure you're building the right thing as well as building it really fast in Kiro.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think somewhere in this whole transition to using agentic AI, we lost the rigor of that like team design rituals. And it's a lot of just an individual developer doing way too much of the design independently and not thinking about those team activities that we forgot somewhere along the way.
And I've done demos, and product managers have come up to me and saying, "Oh, we think Miro and AI is going to take our job," and I'm like, product management is almost more important than ever because there's so much noise. Because everybody now can create their own app and vibe their own thing. To actually stand out and be successful, you have to really put a lot of love and actual discovery into what you're building.
Yeah.
Than ever. Nice.
Excellent. Well, let's jump in and talk a little bit more about Miro and some of Miro's capabilities.
Yeah, I think the best way is a live demo. So I don't know if we can bring up my screen and we can.
Of course.
What we're gonna do is this is my little note to Brian. So I think Brian is going to we can see Brian has joined me on the board.
I love that you can see everyone's mouse moving around, right? It really
people
it feels very team-like. Even if you're not in the room with me, it just seeing exactly what you're doing and kind of where your focus is on the board at the moment is all missing when we're virtual and we're remote. And so just the act of seeing your cursor is really important.
Exactly. And you've got all these attention management things where you can force people over to different types of boards and things like that. So it's pretty handy. But we've just shown you the basics. So what Miro is, the bread and butter of Miro is sticky notes and doing your brain dump with your team on the Miro board and collaborating together with comments and sticky notes. But we've added lots more formats now. So these are all the formats. So I could go into these individually, but probably the best way is to do a live demo of our AI generation capabilities. So usually you start off with a blank Miro board, but the Miro board doesn't have to be blank for long. So I've opened up the templates page here. You can see kind of all the use cases that Miro is used for. So meetings and workshops, agile workflows, all that great stuff. The one I'm going to use is the AI playground. So this is like a really fun template to get an idea of Miro's AI capabilities. So nice. I guess a question for you, Brian. Can you give me one of your hobbies, or maybe like the last physical product that you bought or something like this?
I don't know if we talked a little bit about kind of genealogy has been my push again. Yeah. I haven't touched it in years, and now I'm suddenly really back into it. But I have others if that isn't a good fit.
Let's try genealogy. Hopefully I can spell it correctly.
I can never spell it correctly. You can say
it always takes a few tries. So what's a problem that you have with genealogy at the moment? What's kind of your bugbear, like a pain point?
Yeah, so I think from an app standpoint, there's obviously things I'm researching that I'm struggling with, but from an app standpoint, it's all about kind of organizing all of your records. And what I'm finding right now and what I'm working on is how do I reorganize all the stuff that I've kept for years for humans and
Yeah.
set it up so that it's kind of AI ready, right? A lot of stuff that was lost in PDF docs and stuff, suddenly I want in Markdown. And so a lot of what I've been doing is building the app structure around moving everything into Markdown and making it more agent ready.
Love it. Okay. So what I'll do is actually, what I'll do is I'll put a twist on that. So I'll say physical documents maybe, because this could give us give us some, you maybe got drawers or filing cabinets of physical documents.
I mean, literally, yeah. Yeah, I have a whole piles and piles of them.
Physical documents need to be converted, we'll say, to digital. Great. So this is already, I can see that this is going to make some great product pictures and app prototypes and things like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show sidekicks first. So the sidekicks are chatbots that kind of brainstorm alongside you on the Miro board. We've got different sidekicks for different use cases. So you have a general sidekick, but we're going to use the brainstorming sidekick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask, can you give me some cool ideas for this? And what happens is, so the two stickies we came up with, Brian, he adds these as context, and it uses this as context for its the prompt basically. And what will happen is the brainstorming sidekick will join you on the board, and then it's going to start adding sticky notes, and then we're going to do some curation. So we're going to add the human back into the loop, and we're going to see maybe if there's a solution that resonates with you.
Excellent.
Takes a little bit of time. Okay, so we'll zoom out a little bit. Yeah. So if you can read some of these, so I'll read off some for the audience. So AI-powered handwriting recognition that learns family-specific writing styles and historical script variations. Just move a tiny bit to make some space. 3D scanning for heirlooms and artifacts to create virtual museum exhibits alongside documents. Oh, I mean, that could make a really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, we go with that. There's a few other great ideas in there. AI colorization, scanning sprints with countdown timers, distributed scanning network where relatives in different locations tackle their document cache. So this, what it's meant to do is, it's just to give you ideas, and then you're the experts in genealogy, so you're going to do the curation of the AI output and bring the best idea basically. So I should
have done this weeks ago. There's a million things in here that I haven't even thought of trying to do.
Well, I'll leave you with the access, so you can play with this away. So that was sidekicks, and what flows is, flows are kind of codified AI. So I'll run this whole flow. So flows is kind of our node programming, and the reason it's called flows is, so we've added those sticky notes to a frame here. The information is flowing from that frame into a document node. This document node has a particular system prompt to generate basically a product brief. And then the information is going to flow from this document node, and it's going to generate some product images. It's going to generate a pitch deck, so you can pitch this idea and raise money. It's going to generate a clickable mobile prototype, and some user stories and a diagram. So it all should come in within the next 5 minutes. We can see.
Excellent.
Yeah, we can see.
I love the brainstorming, like just sort of the ideation that you can do with this. It's really cool. I could think of, there are obviously businesses that do some of these things, but man, it's all becoming so easy now using AI.
That's it. Yeah, just that's what AI is all about. Just million tokens of context to convey put whatever you want in there, and then bring out something cool. So this is what it's come up with for the idea. So you've got a tabletop 3D scanner with rotating platform accommodating objects up to 12 inches and 8 inches in height. It's got a companion app. It's got an integration. Target user 45 to 70. Would you fall into that?
I
range,
do.
You think?
I do.
Okay, great.
Just barely,
that right?
but I do.
Yeah.
And I have been doing this as a hobby for far too long, though, right? I think I'm always the young one. anytime I get together with people in this space, I always stand out as one of the youngest. Maybe not so much anymore. I'm actually in the age range now.
In the age group. Okay, so got that right. Great. And then the secondary is professional genealogists with lots of clients. We got a user experience. We want to make money, so we have a business model in there and some success metrics. So while we're talking about that, it's come up with some product images. So this is people getting their heirlooms. So maybe this is this like a watch or a medal or something?
Mm-hmm.
The watch, it's gone all watches. So I guess that's what that's what AI counts as heirlooms. But if you want to run again, once it's stopped, you can rerun and regenerate. Yeah. It's also generated some user stories. So these might resonate with you as a family historian. I want to unbox a device and completely guided setup in under 5 minutes, so I can start preserving items immediately. So it's come up with all these user stories. Again, if there's something that doesn't make sense here, you can just get rid of it. Everything is editable. So this is kind of the point of doing this in AI, that you get to curate the AI, but you get to validate it basically. And
this is the important step, right? The same thing as when we're doing spec-driven development in Kiro. I'm often reminding people to not skip this step, right? I see people all the time saying, "Oh, requirements done, move on to design." I'm like, wait, did you review that?
You got to read it.
Spend some time on this. You're gonna be let down in the end. Spend a little time and take a look at what it's doing.
Spend a bit of time now, and you're gonna benefit later. So it's the same with this. So we generated a pitch deck, so we can start pitching this right away. So it's coming up with the problem, the solution, the market opportunity. It's always quite generous with the market opportunity. But again, it's all editable, and it's just to get you started and maybe let you see a little bit into the future. Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing by accident. Let me share again.
No problem. Yeah, take a moment.
It's just hiding.
Gotcha. I gotta put it back up. There you go.
There we go. Amazing. The last thing is the clickable prototype. So again, you can start getting this in front of potential users, start getting that early feedback on the idea, basically.
That's
so
cool.
I love this idea. So that's what Miro's all about. We did that in 5 minutes, and we've kind of seen a look into the future of what this idea could be.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can start actually executing on that idea. So that's where Miro comes in, or where Kiro comes in. Sorry, I'm always
they sound so much alike. It's hard.
They do. So in Kiro, there's a power. It's called Miro Board Context for CodeGen. You install this. It's going to appear in your MCP servers here. And then when you want to build something from a Miro board, you can just say, "Hey, can you build a marketing website for this app?" So I pick a web marketing website because they're the fastest to do, and we want to get a result to show on the stream. But you could easily also
and you just gave it the URL there to the
I just gave it the URL. All it needs is the URL, and then it's gonna activate the power, and then it's gonna start getting. Oh, looks like it's board access tonight. Let me just re-authenticate.
It's always permissions, right?
Yeah, I think
everything else in the world is easy except for security.
But I can show maybe how you authorize something. So let me go back here, and I'm just going to find out which team this is in. So details. So it's in Miro. Okay. So I think Yeah, it's in location Miro. Okay. I'm going to allow access. I'm going to authorize my Miro account and my Miro team. Add again.
Excellent.
And then, yeah, authorization successful. Okay, so let's see. Let's try again.
I assume that's kind of an OAuth handshake that's happening there to give it access.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Cool.
it does the OAuth handshake, and then stores a token against your team, and then it's kind of free to do its thing. But we can see, I think, if we look down here, we can see all the different capabilities that are available.
Yep.
What I might do is actually I might jump into the documentation to show this off a little bit more.
Yeah, it takes a minute, I'm sure.
Yep.
I guess just to kind of connect back to some of the things that we were talking about at the very beginning of this, right? This is that transition from, hey, I've probably now moved from a group activity where we're putting together the plan, and now I, as a developer, are going to go work on a piece of this. And you're working on that. I might also be connecting to the same Miro board and saying, hey, let's go work on the mobile app. I'm the developer who's going to work on building an iOS app based on this plan as well. And you are working on a marketing website.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way it works is you can give it the general Miro board link, but if you wanted to hone in specifically on the app, you can simply copy this link, and you can say, hey, can you build this mobile prototype for me? This mobile prototype, it actually comes over as HTML into the MCP, so we can build the high fidelity version of this. Yeah, so we can see that's actually coming in now. And we could probably do another session and say, hey, can you build?
You're really tempting the demo gods here.
Yes, I am. I like to play it dangerous.
Yeah.
Prototype.
One thing at a time. You don't go off script when you're live.
Be aware. There's another agent generating here also.
I give you credit.
Use something other than index.html. Let's do that. Okay, this is still doing its thing. Hasn't created any files yet. So I think, it usually does figure out this eventually. But while we're waiting for that to generate, I can show you some examples from our hackathon. So we had a few.
Yeah, I don't think we haven't really talked about the hackathon yet, but right, we've been doing these kind of hackathons together for a while now.
Yeah. So last week, just before the New York summit, we did one in New York. So I've got my New York Knicks hat.
Nice.
Yeah, the school bus they set on fire was just outside my hotel. So that was it made me really feel part of the experience. So
you really got the New York experience, huh?
But yeah, we did a series of hackathons. So I think I have a couple of nice pictures here for a couple of different just shots of the crowd. So we did one in Paris initially, and these were our hackathons for good. They were like taking social problems. We did one in our office HQ in Amsterdam. So we had great projects there. Then we did one in LA. So we did the US leg, and then in New York, we finished up in New York, and we actually had the biggest crowd in New York, which was really cool to end on.
Looks like a great audience in that shot there.
Yeah. During the session, we had actually allocated so many Kiro licenses, and we got oversubscribed, so we had to the Kiro guys there had to scramble to get some more. But yeah, to talk you through what the structure of the hackathon was, it's basically the same thing. So this is my favorite project from the hackathon. So again, people use this template. The problem they came up with was a relationship judge. So when you're having a fight with a spouse or a girlfriend or something like that, an impartial AI judge brings in all this evidence, whether it's a WhatsApp screenshot or something else, and then it makes a judgment based on that. So they did this in Miro, and then they prototyped. I think this was the initial prototype that they built in Kiro, but they actually deployed, I think. So this is
awesome.
This is a quick thing of what they built with Miro and Kiro. So I think we can say, forgot our anniversary. You can upload the evidence, so chat logs and screenshots. You open up the case. So I don't think we can do this. The judge starts building the case. What it does is it brings, I think there's a dog jury of, I think there's 7 dogs or something, and they all have different personalities to judge you. So I think, golden retriever, Shiba Inu,
I love it. I got to say, there's been multiple times where I've been arguing with my wife and wished I had something like this, but I also think that probably presenting evidence is not going to win it for you.
No. When you win, you don't win still. So it's
you can also sometimes I think you can only make it worse by introducing evidence.
Exactly. You gotta know when to pick your battles. But then the judge makes the verdict based on the dog jury, and this was all built in the structure of the hackathons was 4 hours to basically come up with an idea. This team actually shout out to I think I have I think it's Skylar Wang. Their team just came together on the day. They didn't know each other, and they came together on Miro board, aligned, and then built some.
What city was this one?
This was in LA. Yeah.
Okay. Good. I didn't see this fitting into the Hacking for Good Paris experience.
Didn't we changed it up for the US audience? Apparently, it resonated less with the US audience. But
awesome.
That's fine. So I think we
a couple of questions coming in. They've been this actually came up a little bit ago, probably when we were sharing the screen. Can we make changes to the mobile prototype? I think you were saying, right, this is an HTML representation. I'm going to assume we can talk to the AI and kind of express some changes that we want, but I'll leave that to you to answer.
Yeah, there's a few different ways. So you can go in and you can change things manually. So if you wanted to add an extra button or something like that, or change the text, or even change the whole layout, you can do it manually like that. The other option is you can change it with a sidekick as well. So you could say, I'm not feeling this color scheme. And you can say, can you make it more vibrant or something like that?
Sure.
And it'll take in the whole prototype as context, and then it's going to it's gonna build you a new version that you can then riff off. So absolutely, you can change it.
Awesome. That's great. I love it.
But this is what it built. So I just got it to build just a very simple marketing website. But you can see it's gotten all our pricing and everything. It's what do you think of the theme? Does this fit in with the
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has like kind of an heirloom theme to it. The gold on black
theme, I think so.
I think it looks great. I think it did a great job.
Yeah, and this is from an empty folder as well. So there's no CSS or anything in this folder, and it's come up with all this.
It's a lot better than I could have done.
Yes, it's a starting point, right? It's you want to get something and you want to show it to someone and have that quick look in the future, and go from there. the other thing I think we built was, let's see if we can open up this. Did it build the app as well? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so this is the app prototype. So again, you can build this directly and get a live version of your app that you could get in someone's hands and go from there. So I think it's a great starting point.
Awesome.
But yeah,
just throw up other comments in here. I see someone on YouTube talking about, visual modeling seems very applicable to AI DLC. Right? AI DLC, I assume here, I know this word is thrown around a lot, but we, AWS, often talk about AI DLC as kind of the AI-enabled SDLC. And we spent a lot of time talking about kind of this how do we get together as a group. It even has a concept, and in the deck when you're presenting it, there's just a bunch of people sitting around the machine sharing a single IDE and working in it. And it always seems so unnatural to do that, to do these kind of group activities in Markdown in an IDE. So I think that's what really resonated to me for this, is this idea of, we can get back to that visual group planning activity before we take it in and then start building.
That's kind of it as well, and that brings up a good point in that you can send information back into Miro. So you can say, can you send the index.html as a code block on the Miro board. And this is it. It's I've got the ID open on my side. We're remote, so you can't look over my shoulder and have a look at this. So I can, before I send it to GitHub or deploy it or anything. Maybe it's the case that you want to actually. You say I want to actually have a look at the code for this
sure.
HTML. So you could send that. It's probably most of the code is in the script, to be honest, but I think it'd be still a good demo. So Kiro, it's a two-way street basically, and use case that people use for it'd be a more complex app than this is if you want to create a system architecture diagram and see visually how an app works without having to get the holistic view, without having to click through files and maybe examine something together.
Nice. And this will just become like a block on the Miro board with the code in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's still reading, but just have to run this.
Little permissions. Security again.
String should have that list. Okay, so I might need to split it into two parts, but it's gonna split it, and then
it's a bit big maybe for a visual board. That looks like it's a couple hundred lines there. Looking at the right side of that file,
I think it probably put all the
Yep.
Not
going to look pretty on the board.
Well, let's see. Let's see if I don't know what's happening there.
Well, while it's doing that, maybe we'll just talk briefly about the power that you built. I'm not sure that everyone knows what a power is, so I'll kind of kick off and talk about that a little bit, right? The idea of a power is really just packaging up the resources. Often you want to be able to install, in this case, obviously an MCP server, but there's probably some steering files that go along with it that explain how and when to use it. And you can package all that together as a power and then make it a distributable thing that shows up in the list here. And then you can pull it out of this kind of marketplace. So great to see that you've done that and kind of build all of these things for users, making it really easy to plug this in.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're the popularity of the Miro MCP is really taking off. I think it is this idea of aligning together on a Miro board first before you start generating code is really resonating with people, I think. So
cool.
We're definitely leaning into this, which I love, because I'm a visual thinker.
Yes.
When I learned programming, I think I started off in C, and then I went to this language called LabVIEW, which is all like node-based
Sure.
programming.
Yeah. I did. I
Seeing it
used that for
visually.
a while.
Did you use it? Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, seeing like the for loops and everything like drawn on a
Yep.
board made them click with me. And then I was able to go back to sequential programming and
Yeah, we use that a lot in engineering labs during university when we were prototyping
Yes.
things like that. We had all these plugins and stuff so you could, hook up lights and sensors and stuff to it and then execute it in LabVIEW on a machine. It was super cool.
It was great fun.
Kind of my first introductions to electronics. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I did electrical electronic engineering in college, so I was
same.
was a
Computer
special
engineering in the end, but yeah.
Oh, nice. So I think we should be able to see the
Like that round trip.
The code widget somewhere. Let's see where it sent it. Yes, I think it added them just below the template, so we can see. Yeah, to be honest, it might be. It looks like it's. I don't know what happened there. It looks like
it didn't bring over some of the formatting. Yeah.
Oh wait, if I click on it, okay. Maybe it's a temporary thing. If I give the board a refresh, we might be, because it actually looks okay on my other.
Oh yeah. It looks like it's just scrolling.
Yeah, there we go.
It's too big. It's too long to put in visually. Yeah. Oh, cool. There it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, you get the idea. Collaborative AI SDLC.
So
nice.
As we're looking at this, I am curious. When I've done these before, often a lot of what we're doing is very positional. It's not just the words, right? I'm putting a Kanban board up and I'm moving little sticky notes around on this virtual board. How do you communicate over MCP to an agent to sort of understand the positional elements that there's likely no data that says I am in the to-do column versus the done column of the Kanban board. How does it understand consent?
Yeah, so that's part of the MCP. So when we first started, I was part of the team, like experimenting, our early ChatGPT days to see could ChatGPT plugin create a nice Miro board template, and the results they weren't great to be honest. Yeah. Sure. But the thing we've added to our MCP is the this board layout domain DSL, which stands for domain specific language. So this is kind of the thing that tells the AI that's using it how it interacts with your Miro and how to make something that looks good, and also how to actually understand what's the data it's getting back as well. So I think that this is the key thing.
So are you somehow conveying to the AI what this domain-specific language is and how to use it? Does this call sort of describe what the language is? And
exactly, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Gives all the context.
I've spent a lot of time with different customers trying to solve this problem. In fact, we did an episode on this a few months back about kind of how to teach Kiro about things that are either, and it might just be a library that you have that's part of a regular, Java or some other standard language. Kiro knows the language well, but it's never heard of your, your specific library, and so you have to teach it a little. Or the DSL problem is quite a bit harder, and there's lots and lots of developers out there that are working on these proprietary, workflow or other descriptive languages that the model's never seen before, because these are all proprietary internal things. So. I've been down this path. That's a hard problem to solve.
It is.
Yeah, got it working.
It took a while to solve as well. Yeah, because we've been working on this since the early days. The other things we've done as well is it's not just raw data that's coming back all the time. We've added some search boards things, so you can search a board and it's kind of like a fuzzy a fuzzy search. There's also kind of giving a high level AI summary as well to the AI. So it's our own AI's interpretation of our board and giving this because we data better. So I think kind of AI helpers get great results. And I did have an opportunity to test really briefly with Fable before they cut the access. Fable did a lovely job of laying out an account planning board and things like that. So it's only going to get better.
Excellent. So well, we're just about at time here. I think unless you have anything else that you want to add, I'll give you a moment in case there's something you want to throw in that we haven't gotten to yet.
So I think there was one, is MCP currently read-only from Miro to Kiro? No, so it's both ways. So you can, and MCP is both ways. You can write data back into to Miro or read it out. And the one on, can you push updates or architecture diagrams back onto Miro? We didn't look at, but you can create and you can create native Miro diagrams, or you can create mermaid diagrams as well. So you can have that text for other sources. So just two last notes. Yeah.
Excellent. Great. Well, Seán, thank you so much. I appreciate you spending time with us today. This is really cool. I think this, for me, really connects the dots between how do I handle these group activities and then take it into individual developer and go act on it. So that kind of between Kiro and Miro, I think is awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, it's been great chatting. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Excellent. Questions. All right. Well, thank you, and thanks everyone who joined, and we'll see you again next week.
See you next time.